Hi folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So we're carrying on with our series of what the hell is Zug using, and we're going to take a look at one of my favourite veteran builds that I just always tend to go back to, and that is the plasma gun build. And I really love this build, and I have to thank our channel member Chief for convincing me to try this out in the first place a few months ago, because I was very against it to start with, and that was through my own ignorance. So let's dive in and see what we're using with it. So as I said, obviously, plasma gun. But first off, let's take a look at our melee weapon. So I'm going to give you two choices of this like I usually do. First off, we can use the Assault Chainsword, the Cadia Mark 13G. And for the modifiers, we're going with Damage, Finesse, Shredder, and Penetration. LOL. And of course, our dump stat is Mobility. For the perks, we're going with Flak, because it's the most prevalent armor type in the game. And of course, Unarmored. Because what's this weapon for? This weapon's for dealing with hordes. Which is why our blessings are also very horde-centric. So first off, we're taking Savage Sweep. Hitting at least 3 enemies with an attack increases your cleave by 200% for 2 seconds. And Rampage. Hitting at least 3 enemies with an attack increases your damage by 36% for 3 seconds. This is all geared towards dealing with hordes, basically. As hordes are going to be the one thing the plasma gun can't really deal with. It can, but only if they'd like to line up in a nice big conga line of death. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the chainsword, as you can see, just absolutely eats through everything. So when we get into a situation where we're being overrun, we can switch over to it and just eat through anything up to black armor. And if we really have to, we can beat black armored enemies to death without much problem, really. And of course, don't forget you've got the Shredder to deal with those targets if they're being a bit uppity with you, which some of them are. I mean, it even works on the Crushers, but it will take 2 swings. So you're not completely defenseless against them, it just takes a little bit more. So this is my pick for the build, but if you don't like the Assault Chainsword, you can always go for the Dueling Sword. Although its damage against hordes isn't super great for the veteran, as our attack speed is just a little bit low. If we could increase our attack speed by about 20%, it'd be much, much better. Sharp, definitely. But of course, you do get the upside of being able to poke things to death by stabbing them in the face, which is ridiculously funny. But the problem is we don't have really any difficulty dealing with hard targets because we have, of course, the plasma gun. But as usual, pick what you're happy with, to be honest. For me, I'm going to stick with the chainsword for this build. Right, so for the plasma gun, how are we using it? Well, we're using it like this. The modifiers, we're going with damage, charge rate, stopping power, and thermal resistance, and our dump stat is ammo, because we actually need all the other stuff. And for the perks, we're going with flak and unyielding. This is going to help us deal with basically flak, every enemy in the game, more or less, and of course unyielding. That's going to help us deal with reapers, bulwarks, and monstrosities. For the blessings, we're going to be using Gets Hot. Critical hit chance scales by your current heat level up to 50%. Also increases critical range attack damage by 10%. And then Rising Heat up to 20% strength, scaling with heat level. So this is basically rewarding you for running this gun very, very hot. But there are a few things you need to know about the plasma gun. Unless you're dealing with, say, a Reaper or a Crusher, you don't really want to be charging the gun too much. Everything else, the gun is more than capable of taking out in just a normal shot. So don't feel like you need to sit there and charge up your shots every time, as you're going to be wasting time and damage. You don't need to overkill things, basically. Now, the problem with the plasma gun as well is the reload. And there are a few ways to get around that by using the reload animation cancel. So what you need to do, what we're going to be using is sprint, so moving forward and tapping shift on the PC. I don't know what it is on console. We're going to start the reload. Do it then. Do it then. Do it then. So every time you see your character turning one of the whatever the hell they are, the wheels, the round things, you hit sprint. As you see there, I failed it. Now then, and it's going to turn. Do it then. It's going to turn. Do it then. I'll show you one more time. Turn. 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 And you basically cancel the entire animation for the reload. It may take you a few tries to get used to it, but once you've got the animation cancelled down, it's pretty easy to keep doing. You know, I mess it up occasionally when we're fighting. Everyone does, but that's how you do the animation cancel for the plasma gun. It makes the weapon far more usable. Right, next up, we're going with the Curios. So as you can see here, I'm using one max health Curio with 5% toughness, toughness regeneration speed, and damage resistance gunners. Now the perks are the exact same on all three, but I am using two more plus 17% toughness Curios. Now, I am going to get a lot of questions about this, so I have prepared some notes on this. So if you just give me 1 second to actually find the damn things, because of course I'm not prepared. So the standard usually is 2 toughness and 1 health. Front-loading your veteran with toughness will synergize with talents such as exhilarating takedown, close order drill, and iron will, providing more value to the damage reduction talents. And basically, you can build for health if you struggle defending against bigger attacks, and build for toughness if you have trouble with chip damage. But basically, you don't want to go for all three because of the huge amounts of diminishing returns. And the reason that we are using Toughness Regeneration Speed is because it only affects the passive regen while you're in team coherency. But with 3 of them, it speeds it up to ridiculous amounts. And also, because we're using Charismatic Aura, it's going to keep that toughness just going in absolute mental overload, which is what we want as a veteran. Lots of toughness all the time, but we're not taking 3 because of the diminishing returns. Now, I know I've explained that really badly. You just have to trust me on this. And also, stop listening to Reddit. Toughness isn't rubbish. Just don't listen to Reddit. They're wrong. They don't understand how toughness works. So, that's the items. Let's jump into the build. So let's start off here on the left. Long shot, deal up to 20% range-based damage. Bonus is reduced the nearer you are to the target. So further away, more damage. And here we're going to be taking close order drill up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies in coherency. Confirmed kill, replenish 10% toughness on elite or specialist enemy kill, and a further 20% toughness over 10 seconds. And charismatic aura, because this is going to help us regenerate huge amounts of toughness, because it's going to count us as being in coherency with everyone, which is a lot of what our talents do. I mean, if everyone runs away, of course, you're not going to be in coherency, but it's just going to make it easier for you to be classed as in coherency. Into stamina boost, which you don't care about, into a toughness boost, into crack grenade. Now again, if you don't like the crack grenade, please just take the shredder frag grenade. I understand what the shredder frag grenade does. It's really good for staggering things, giving you extra time to pick people up while you drop one, and blah, blah, blah. I understand that. Don't have to keep explaining it to me. I just prefer the crack grenade, because it does lots and lots of damage and helps you clear out monstrosities and Ogryn packs. It is your last chance saloon when you are inevitably caught in a reload and you're being bared down by 3 or 4 Ogryns. Yes, that will stagger them slightly. This will kill them. Into health boost, into covering fire. When you kill an enemy with a ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15% toughness and receive plus 10% to all base damage for 3 seconds. Into Fireteam, 5% damage for you and your allies in coherency. Into Toughness damage reduction, we're picking up Field Improvisation to help the team out. Ammo crates also restore grenades. Medpacks heal 100% faster. And Cleanse Corruption and replenish 1% toughness per second. Now, you don't have to be the one that drops the pack. Just being in the group enables everyone to do this. Demolition Stockpile replenishes 1 grenade every 60 seconds. Into Voice of Command, replenish your toughness, stagger all enemies within 9 meters. Base cooldown is 30 seconds. Then we're taking Duty and Honor. Voice of Command now also provides you and your allies in coherency with plus 50 toughness for 15 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness. 25% suppression dealt, and then into 5% range damage. Then we're picking up Precision Strikes, plus 30% weak spot damage. Basically, headshot damage, lots and lots of damage. Into Fully Loaded for plus 25% ammo. Into Superiority Complex for 15% base damage against elites. Then back to the middle, we're taking For the Emperor. Your combat ability gives you and your allies in coherency plus 10% melee base damage and plus 10% range base damage for 5 seconds. Into Tactical Awareness, combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. Then we're taking Iron Will, one of the best talents in the tree, 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. And also with all of the things we're taking like Charismatic Aura and all that sort of stuff, this is going to really help us to keep this rolling at all times. Then the toughness boost here into Rending Strike, give plus 10% rending to all weapons. And yes, I know that the plasma gun really doesn't need the 10% rending, but this is also going to help out with our melee weapon. And also the other choices for that point are really 5% melee damage or 5% crit, which we really don't care about that much. So I prefer to have an extra 10% damage than just sort of 5 damage here or 5% crit. We're taking Bring It Down, plus 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. Into Focus Target. Gain Focus Target every 2 seconds, stacks 5 times. Tagging an enemy applies the Focus Target stacks to them, causing them to take 4% additional damage for each stack and reset your Focus Target stacks to 1. And then we're taking all of the little offshoots. Target Down, if an enemy you have tagged dies, replenish 5% toughness and 5% stamina for each stack of Focus Target applied to you and your allies in coherency. Focused Fire now stacks to 8, and of course Redirect Fire if an enemy you have tagged dies, grants 1.5% damage for each stack of Focus Target applied to you and your allies in coherency lasts 10 seconds. Basically, tag something, kill it. And it gives you huge amounts of damage and also Toughness Regeneration. And if a bulwark is being annoying, you can blow through the shield with the plasma gun. It is a very versatile weapon. And once you get the animation cancelled down, it becomes a lot more usable. But there you go, folks. That is the plasma gun build that I keep getting drawn back to. I just can't quit you, plasma gun build. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. And if you do, please do like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, take it easy, and I'll see you later.